Today's video is brought to you by Card Kingdom, and you can pre-order all the Double Masters cards you need now over at cardkingdom.com. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another daily dose of Double Master spoilers. And we've reached day 2 of Double Master spoiler season, and we have a ton of cards to talk about today. Some powerful mythics, some expensive rares, also some not so expensive rares, disappointingly, but tons of stuff to talk about, which means we should probably jump right into it. Start talking new Double Masters reprints. So first off today, we got another mythic in Sneak Attack. So Sneak Attack, really powerful, sees play in Legacy Commander decks, essentially a 4-mana enchantment that for 1 red mana lets you put a creature from your hand into play with haste, goes away at the end step, whatever. Most importantly, Sneak Attack is coming with box topper art, and I gotta say, this is some of my favorite box topper art. It's literally like a hot dog roast in this huge monster about to sneak up on the barbecue and eat everyone that's roasting hot dogs. So one of my favorite box topper arts, I just think it's really funny that they're roasting hot dogs for some reason, like a camping trip that's about to go horribly wrong, like those horror stories when you all sit around the campfire. That's what's happening in the art of this card. So Sneak Attack, it is mostly in demand because of Legacy, which is why it's still like a $25 rare, even though it was, which is why it's still like a $25 card, even though it was reprinted not that long ago, because it's played in the Sneak and Show deck. Basically, Sneak Attack Show and Tell, trying to put Grizzlebrand and Evercoal into play as quickly as possible, and Grizzlebrand Evercoal, really powerful, so pretty likely to just win you the game. Also has a bit of commander demand, not really a staple there, but if you're playing a deck built around sneaking creatures into play, Xenaghost really likes big creatures, Perforos, kind of a Sneak Attack as your commander. Sneak Attack is a nice, kind of redundant piece for decks like that, with massive creatures that cost a ton of mana, or just decks that want to cheat things into play on the cheap. So Sneak Attack, not one of our most expensive mythics, but still $25, sweet box topper art, so a solid reprint all around, coming in Double Masters. Next on our list, oh my goodness, Cyclonic Rift is back, and not only is Cyclonic Rift back, it is coming with a box topper, and I swear this is going to be one of the most expensive box toppers in the entire set. The art is sweet, it's very Blue Is It style, but Cyclonic Rift, if you're somehow not familiar with this card, it is one of the best cards in the Commander format. I believe it is the #1 blue card over Force of Wills and Counter Spells and Brainstorms. It is the #1 most played blue card. It's a card that's been reprinted multiple times, and it's still $35. It gets reprinted, sometimes it drops in price a little bit, sometimes it hardly drops in price at all, because there is just a ridiculous amount of demand for this card. Essentially, any deck that has blue mana in Commander is going to want a copy of Cyclonic Rift. That is how good it is in the format. So obviously a good reprint to hopefully bring the price down. Even if it gets down to like $20 from $35, that would be a nice step in the right direction. I think the box topper is going to be absurdly expensive. I would not be surprised if this is one of the most expensive box toppers from the entire set, just because Commander players love their cool prints of cards. Cyclonic Rift, I don't believe has any cool promo prints, so this is the first time you can get this like cool borderless treatment on Cyclonic Rift. So great reprint price-wise. If you're a Commander player and the price goes down, I would snap them up, because if the price on Cyclonic Rift does drop, it will not stay down for long. There's just ridiculous demand for this card. We've seen it in the past. It goes down a little bit and then shoots right back up, not just to where it was before, but often higher, because so many people are buying this card, because not only do you need one for every single blue deck you have in Commander. So get your copies if the price drops, because it's going to stay expensive. We also got confirmation on Brea Ethereum Shaper, which we kind of knew about yesterday because it showed up in the art on one of the boosters, but now we got the actual card itself coming back at Mythic. And Brea, hard to complain too much about the reprint. It's only $15, so roughly the price of a pack. On the other hand, it is one of the 20 most popular commanders in the entire format, and this will make it hopefully more accessible for players. People are going to want to build Brea decks because it's super sweet. This also marks the second Commander 2016 Commander that we've seen from the 4-color Mythic cycle. We know Atraxa is coming back. We had that as one of the original cards spoiled. Obviously, Brea not as expensive as Atraxa, and I think the question now is, are we getting all 4 of the commanders? There's also Kitteros and Tiro of Meletis, Yidris. These are not quite as popular as Atraxa and Brea. I think Atraxa and Brea are the 2 standouts from the year. They are also not as expensive. Kynneos in Trios is like $10-ish. Yidris, I think, is more like $5. It'll be interesting to see. There are some really expensive cards from Commander 2016, some of the partner commanders that are really expensive. So, on its own, I think Brea is a fine reprint. It's not going to be one of the mythics that you're dying to open, but hopefully it knocks the price down a few dollars, allows more players to build Brea deck, because Brea is a really powerful, really fun commander to build around. So, in that sense, it's a good reprint. I don't know. What do you think? Are you hoping we get the rest of the C16 4-color mythic commanders as well? Or should they get left out and reprinted in the future? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's keep moving on. Next on our list in the world of mythics, we have Webb Coil Engine, another solid mid-range mythic reprint. Webb Coil, currently like $23, coming along with a box topper, which I kind of like the box topper, kind of a unique perspective on Webb Coil. So Webb Coil Legend, it's a card that sees play in a lot of different places as far as competitive formats. In Modern, sees play in Tron decks, also Eldrazi Tron decks. All the way back to Vintage, it sees play in shop decks. Basically, if you're a big mana deck, especially one that's built around colorless mana and colorless cards, Webb Coil is often an inclusion in your deck because it's big, it's lifelinking, it has the death trigger to kind of protect itself. Even, 10 years or something after New Phyrexia, Webb Coil Legend still holds up against modern creatures, even in older formats. That's how powerful it is. Also sees a decent amount of play in commander decks, especially, I guess, 3 kinds of commander decks. It shows up in colorless commander decks just because there's not that many great colorless options if you're playing like Kozilek or another Eldrazi-based deck. Shows up in artifact-based decks like Duretti, and then sometimes token decks like Burklet, especially if there's some artifact synergies mixed in. So, Webb Coil Legend, it's expensive. You're not going to be disappointed to open it in your pack. The box topper art, definitely cool, so another solid reprint for Double Masters. We also got Exploration with spectacular box topper art. So Exploration, you might not realize it. This is a card that was actually reprinted not that long ago. I believe it was Battle Bond that reprinted Exploration. I could be wrong. One of those supplemental sets. It dropped way down in price for a while, but it is now back up to $45. So it is, I believe, the most expensive rare that we've seen so far. And yesterday we were getting a little worried about the rare value. We had some duds in there, some mid-range rares. Hadn't seen a ton of like high-end rares. Exploration is definitely a high-end rare, and the Mark Pool showcase art, the box topper art, wow, that is spectacular. That is just such an amazing Magic card. So Exploration, it's expensive for a couple of reasons. One is it's a staple in Legacy where it sees playing the land stack. The land stack plays a ton of lands, like 38, 40 some lands. It just plays a ton of lands, and its plan is to grind out land value, eventually win with Dark Depths Thespian Stage. And if you are in a deck with a ton of lands, Exploration's great because you're often going to have multiple land drops. It even has Life from the Loam to get back land, so you're making multiple land drops throughout the game. Lets you do all kind of sweet synergies with like Wasteland and stuff. So Exploration, partly expensive because of that, also sees play in a lot of extra land-based commander decks, like Rada or Lord Windgrace or Tetyova or Azusa. Things that have synergies with lands entering the battlefield or just built around playing multiple lands each turn. Exploration, great inclusion there as well. So really solid reprint value-wise. Like I said, most expensive rare that we've seen so far, and just a really beautiful box topper art from Mark Poole. Next up, rare-wise, we have the return of the noblest of Hierarch. So, Noble Hierarch is back, box topper art included, original art on the card as well, which is nice. Noble Hierarch, another really solid rare, still $30, has been reprinted in some master sets, there's a promo printing as well, but even despite those reprints, still $30, so solid reprint value-wise. One of the rares you're really going to want to crack open in your booster pack. As far as why Noble Hierarch is valuable, couple of reasons. It does see play Commander, especially 5-color decks, or decks that care about cheap creatures, like Chulane, drawing a card when a creature comes into play, loves their Mana Dork. So Mana Dork style decks, or just 5-color decks, especially if you care about creatures. Also, it's the best Mana Dork in Modern. It sees play over any other Mana Dork in many decks. The Devoted Druid combo decks, humans play it because it is a human. It sees play in Infect, where the Exalted trigger, pumping your Blighted Agents and infects creatures is relevant, shows up in Spirits, wrapping you into your 3-drop. So Noble Hierarch, cross-format demand, sees Legacy play to some extent as well. Cross-format demand, awesome art, cool to see the original art reprinted, so another really solid rare reprint. We also got, Arkham Dixit. So, that little groan there, I love Arkham Dixit. I think it's a really cool card, kind of this like upgraded artifact polymorph style effect. Arkham's a really sweet card. Here's the problem with Arkham. Right now, value-wise, Arkham's like $16, which, when you think about it, a pack is what, like $15? You're getting 2 rares in a pack, so value-wise, at the moment, Arkham is fine, not any different than like some of the other cards that we've seen, the low-end mythics in the set. On the other hand, Arkham doesn't really see much play. I actually thought it was a card that saw play in Commander, but then I researched it a little bit. It's like the 378th or something most popular Commander, so very far down the list as a Commander, and then it only sees very fringe play in some weird artifact decks, like Mishra or Memnarch or Muzio in the 99, so it just doesn't really see any play. More importantly, its price is driven by the fact that it only has one printing. And that printing is Cold Snap, which is one of the lowest supply sets in the entire history of the modern era of Magic. Cold Snap is notoriously low supply, so its current price tag of like $16, it's not because there's demand, it's because it just doesn't have very much supply. So I expect this to be a dud mythic when it's all said and done. This is one where the price is going to crash. I know it's $16 now. I expect it to be $5. Maybe it ends up even less than that. So from what we've seen so far, good chance this is the least valuable mythic, or at least on the list of least valuable mythics in the entire set. Definitely the mythic so far that you're not going to want to crack open in your pack. If there's good news, at least it's not a box topper, so you're not going to get a dud box topper of Arkham. So, I mean, it's fine that it's seeing reprinted. It will get the price down, but again, it's one of those cards that its price is driven by low supply rather than high demand. We also got the return of Engineered Explosives, which is kind of crazy. Engineered Explosives sees play in Modern, this kind of artifact wrath for certain converted mana costs. Sees play back in Legacy, can even play it in some Commander decks, although it doesn't see much Commander play. But this is a great example of how reprinting, combined with, I guess, decks changing in a format like Modern, can really change the price of a card. It was not that long ago, roughly 2 years ago, Engineered Explosives was a literal $100 card, and it's been reprinted since then in some master sets. It's being reprinted again. Part of why it has dropped in price is some of its partners in crime have been banned or just kind of shifted out of the format. Like, it was a staple of the Lantern control deck, which isn't really a thing anymore. It was a staple in Mox Opal driven artifact like Emery Urza style decks, which have got less popular with Mox Opal gone. So it's partly that the format has shifted. It's partly that it's been reprinted a lot. It does still see a bit of play in like Amulet Titan decks, some more of a kind of fridge decks in the Modern format. But really, Engineered Explosives is now like a $10 card, will probably be even less as a result of this reprinting, which on one hand is bad news if you're opening boxes. You're not going to get $100 Engineered Explosives. It's kind of the definition of a mid-grade rare now. On the other hand, it was $100 not long ago, in 2 years, in the not that distant past, a couple of years ago, and now it's $10, so if you do need Engineered Explosives to play Modern, to play Legacy, to play Commander maybe, you can pick them up on the cheap. So it's a good example of how reprintings actually do work and can have an impact on the price of cards, even master set style reprinting. So glad there's going to be more, should be even cheaper now, which I think is what everyone wants out of sets like Double Masters. We also got some cards that are mostly notable because of their rarity being shifted. Voice of Resurgence down to rare for the first time. Still like a $9 or $10 card, based mostly on some Modern play. Lux Cannon has always been a mythic, cool in like charge counter-based Commander decks, janky Modern decks that are definitely not competitive, but definitely fun to build around, to just blow stuff up every turn if you can get enough counters on it. Shroom the Hegemon is a Commander All-Star, but it's been reprinted a lot of times, so it's only like $1, which makes me very thankful that Wizards bumped it down from mythic to rare. As a rare, it's not great. It's still a bulk rare. On the other hand, Shroom being a mythic, which you could see Wizards justifying because they have always printed it at mythic, would be an absolute disaster to get $1 mythic in your $15 pack or in your VIP boosters. So definitely cool to see these cards getting a downgrade in rarity. Really, most of them aren't super relevant price-wise. The biggest is probably Voice of Resurgence, which if you've been playing Magic for a while, there was a time when Voice of Resurgence was like a $50 card, the best card from Dragon's Maze. So seeing it down to rare, going to be really accessible for players to pick up, is definitely a good thing. The other two, I mean, their price is going to be really low. It'll drop even more, but they're already kind of bulk level cards, so not a super big deal there. We also got a couple of downgrades from rare to uncommon for the first time. Trash for Treasure, a good artifact reanimation spell. You don't have to sack an artifact to do it, but has always been a rare. Going down to uncommon, going to be super cheap now. Sphinx Summoner, another one. The Artifact Tutor, actually really good in artifact-based commander decks. The Artifact Tutor, going down to uncommon. These were cards that were already fairly inexpensive, but the good news is they're not going to be taking up a rare slot, which is definitely a nice bonus. As uncommons, they're fine. Any rares that are downgraded to uncommon, there's not really any serious value to worry about from uncommons anyway, so seeing these cards at uncommon, that's actually kind of exciting. If they were rares, though, it would be a little bit disappointing. Finally, we're going to wrap up with the bad news of the day. We mentioned some decent rares along the way, some good rares. Don't worry, there are bad rares as well. Terastodon, Blades Placer, Heat Shimmer, Craigie Cremator, Bosch Iron Golem. These are the dud rares of the day. These are the cards that you really don't want to open in your pack. So this might be underestimating them a little bit. Heat Shimmer is technically the most valuable of the bunch at like 450-ish, although, like we've talked about with other cards, that's mostly because it's a one-print card back in Lorwyn. It's been a long time since it's been reprinted. Doesn't really see much play, but it's just ever so slowly crept up in price. For seeing play in Fridge Commander decks, it'll be a bulk rare now. The rest of them are mostly bulk rares already, like Craigie Cremator, Bosch Iron Golem. Literally before this reprint, they're already like 30-cent cards, as cheap could get. So I don't know what they really do for this. I guess they round out limited or whatever, but as far as being reprints that are necessary to help constructed formats, or even Commander, or any format, they don't do anything. They're the cards you just don't want to open. Terastodon is a good Commander card, but it's been reprinted a ton. Blades Placer has been reprinted a bunch, sees a little bit of modern play, but not too much. So basically, these are the cards you don't want to open from the set if you can avoid it. Finally today, checking out our prices, which again, I'll link the spreadsheet to the real-time price updates in the description down below if you want to track it yourself throughout the day. But as of day 2 of spoiler season, when I'm making this video, we have 32.5% of the Mythics previewed. We have 21.5% of the Rares previewed. Right now, the average Mythic value down a bit from yesterday. It was, I think, 49 when we recorded yesterday, down to 43.38. Although if there's good news, the median value is still 38. So basically, a lot of value still with Mythics. You can't really go super wrong. Even the bad Mythics, the worst of the bunch, are worth more than a pack. Even not considering that you get 2 rares in a pack, like literally worth more than $15. So Mythics are definitely fine. Rares have went up a little bit. They're up to $791 on average, $445 median. And it's been a weird day for rares. We got a bunch of the best rares we've seen so far. Exploration, $40 Rage. We got Noble Hierarch, $30 Rage. Cyclonic Rift, $35, along with a bunch of the mid-grade commander rares, Astur Commands, Voice of Resurgence, cards like that. So we got a bunch of good ones. Mixed in, though, we got a bunch of really bad ones, like Shroom, Craigie Cremator, Bosch Iron Golem. These are all cards that are basically bulk rares already. So while we got enough good stuff to push up the overall value, there were a bunch of duds that you're going to be very disappointed if you open as one of your 2 rares or mythics in a $50 pack. So anyway, that brings us to the end of our daily Double Masters spoilers for today. So what do you think? What card from today are you most excited about? Which ones are you going to be picking up? What decks are you going to build with them? What do you think about the downgrades? What other cards could we see go from mythic to rare, or rare to uncommon? What do you think about the rares? Are you excited based on the high value rares? Scared that you're going to crack open the Bosches and Craigie Cremators of the world? Let me know in the comments. We'll be back tomorrow to catch up on whatever happens in Double Masters world. Prices, cards, all that good stuff. Until then, have a spectacular day, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.